So, oh my goodness, what is this cockpit that we've just spawned into? Oh no, everybody. This video is gonna cause a lot of pain around the world. Everybody, yes, we now have a new Airbus A380 for the Microsoft Flight Simulator in the marketplace. Bad news, though, is that it's made by the developer of mScenery. You know, over the past weeks, we've talked about this developer. They have made some of the worst aircraft ever for the flight sims. Now, hasn't got reverse thrust. Let's see if the spawners work. So put them all to full. Clearly doesn't work. They haven't bothered to do that. And yeah, an interesting thing is that every week they're releasing new airplanes of very poor quality, all of which cost €11.19. I mean, genuinely, the issue is that there's apparently no quality control on the marketplace. I mean, I don't even want to know what the 777-200LR is like. When I see weird pictures of extremely squared 777 windows. I mean, look at this 777. Look at how sad the engine looks. This is a payware add-on. 11 years. Look at the window. What? And the cockpit is obviously a 747 cockpit with 3 autopilots. Why? Yeah, why is a good question. Why do people buy these airplanes when, especially, for example, the A380-800 has been a freeware for almost a year now for the Microsoft Flight Sim, an immensely awesome freeware by fly-by-wire. Though the problem is, this highly realistic Airbus A380 is only available for PC. So Microsoft Flight Sim Xbox users suffer from the fact that they have to buy planes from the marketplace in order to fly them. This is why 79 people have already bought and rated the thing. So this plane's probably been sold plenty more times than that. So without further ado, let me go ahead and spend €11.19 so you don't have to. Because let me tell you, this plane is absolutely hilarious. Now, just as always, while we're downloading the plane, we've got the description that mScenery has on every airplane. Experience the pinnacle of commercial aviation with the Airbus A380-800 Professional. Ultra-realistic add-on. This meticulously crafted model delivers unparalleled accuracy and immersion. Perfect for aviation enthusiasts and virtual pilots seeking to command the world's largest passenger airliner. Fully animated aircraft. Highly detailed exterior and interior. Okay, there we go. We've just done a download. Let's spawn in. By the way, the ratings are relatively decent. It's probably I think the ratings are way too nice for what the plane is going to be. All right, so here is the Airbus A380-800, right next to the fly-by-wire A380. By the way, it's interesting that I mean, just the stats. While the realistic fly-by-wire A380 has a range of 8,000 nautical miles, the mScenery one has only 5,300, which is not much at all. Also, max altitude is 47,000 feet. This thing flies as high as a Concorde nearly. Great, very realistic. Let's see, we have one livery included, and it's Emirates. Hey, why not? And you know, I'm checking things like, what is the maximum takeoff weight here on this add-on? It's 174,000 pounds, which is very weird because that is not much at all. The realistic A380 shows 1.1 million pounds instead of 100 something. What in the world? Maximum takeoff weight, 174,000 pounds? No, that can't be right. You know what? I think they stole the stats of the A320 because the A320 is the plane that has a maximum takeoff weight of 174,165 pounds, which is weirdly the exact amount that the A380 by mScenery has. Yes, it turns out they just stole the A320 model. It's hilarious. Probably the plane's left wing weighs more than 174,000 pounds. That is insane. Either way, let's go ahead and spawn in at some airport. I mean, we are a super lightweight A380 now. We should be able to fly off of St. Bartholomew. So let's go ahead and do that. Just spawn cold and dark into it. This is making me mad. Is it so hard to change the allowable weights of an airplane? Oh, I like how this mScenery plane is showing us stats about the A320neo. Maybe it's because this A380 is actually an A320 disguised as an A380. For €11.19, ladies and gentlemen. So, oh my goodness, what is this cockpit that we've just spawned into? I'm in a lot of pain. I'm in a lot of pain already. Okay, anyway. All right, look at this A380 model right there. It looks a little odd. I don't know about this nose. It looks like a bit of a comical version of the A380. I feel like the windows of the cockpit are too small. This plane looks weird. They probably, bought and downloaded some sort of 3D model of the internet. You can tell that they've done some weird stuff with it, especially the this text here. Airbus A380 is obviously warped, which kind of makes sense because I feel like the whole nose is kind of like broken a little bit. Could definitely tell that here, especially here on the lines. I feel like the nose on this plane is way too this looks really odd. Anyway, something that's interesting is that this airplane hasn't got any landing lights, apparently. Look at it. Either way, let me just turn this around so we can have a better view. But I mean, just look at the extreme low quality texturing here on the tail. Absolutely hilarious. No, this is just this is worse than a freeware. I should be paid to play this. No, this is what the APU looks like. It's just a black spot of something. This is a close view of the engines. Very high quality engines, as you can see. This plane is moving a little bit. Perfect texturing. Nothing to worry about at all. This is what the wheels look like. Very, very glossy chrome. Nose landing gear. This might just be the best nose landing gear of any scenery plane. But everybody, we've already kind of figured the elephant in the room is definitely the cockpit. And I mean, all right. We all know by now what the real A380 cockpit is supposed to look like. The A380 still is one of the more modern Airbus airplanes in terms of the avionics in the cockpit. We can see multiple big touchscreen screens with a relatively new autopilot, much more modern looking than, for example, the A320, which has a bit of an older system. You can see, for example, the autopilot is a bit different to the A380's autopilot. But something that's a bit weird is that this airplane has sort of a mixture between A320 and A380. We have the screens here, but the autopilot is the A320 as well as the other stuff. This is practically A320 as well, but like kind of mixed together. Everything is sort of flickering, which is kind of the thing that all scenery airplanes have. But the overhead panel is very trippy because it is just the A320 overhead panel. In fact, for example, here are the fire extinguishers for engines, but these only show 2 engines. The fuel pump selector right here shows that we only have 2 engines. The electrical generators for the airplane shows that we only have generators and 2 engines, which is obviously not true at all. We have 4 engines, which this airplane is also acknowledging. I mean, what did I expect? But I'm still disappointed somehow. Let's go ahead and turn on the APU right now. For some reason, that comes available immediately, and also the APU is available immediately. What in the world? Like the bleed. What? Anyway, oh my God, okay. Oh, okay, this is the A320 primary flight display. What is this? I'm sure those who have already, flown this airplane in the Microsoft Flight Sim, the freeware, good model, know what the FMC is supposed to look like. Beautiful touchscreen. But then we have this here. Hey, at least this plane knows it's an A380-800. Let's go ahead and press enter or clear. This keyboard is very trippy. What in the world is the layout? It's supposed to be actually ABCD layout. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but it's like, it's not. Okay. Anyway, how do I get into... flight plan. Oh my God. This is genuinely just the Airbus A320 flight management computer, but like stretched onto a bigger screen. Let's see if I can type anything. For no reason here, we are at St. Barth Airport. TFFJ. There we go. Dash TNCM. Does it work? Okay, return. The buttons to the soft keys don't even match the location. What? Hey, look, we've got our flight plan. This is just painful. Now, let's go and turn on the engines. I cannot hear anything here. Normally, we're supposed to hear the APU being on, since it's clearly on and available. Either way, let's go and try to turn on these engines right here. So, engine number 4, start. And that selects all the engines, actually. And that's all we have to do. There's not an ignition switch here, which there is supposed to be in real life. This is the ignition switch. It's just missing, and it's just all blinking, and it's just all painful. Okay. Now, what's really interesting is that the throttle is completely messed up. First of all, what? I mean, we are controlling 4 engines right now, and they're all turning on, but only 2 engines actually work. Huh? Look, only 2 are actually selected, which is really weird. If I try to use the keyboard keys right here, same thing. Also, the axis is completely weird. Here's where idle would be, and here's where the reverser axis would be. This is completely broken. Either way, finally, we can hear the engine turn on. Only 2 are working, technically, but 4 are spinning. Great, I mean, we don't weigh a lot, so it's fine. And now the other engines are turning on as well, but they're not selectable. Anyway, let's go and put the flaps out. Let's see if that works. So flaps to 1. Yeah, and that brings out something. What is this flap animation? The flap just kind of lowered. It didn't actually like twist like it normally should. Does this just lower the flaps? Wow. This is the worst looking flaps I've ever seen. It doesn't actually look like that in real life. I wouldn't believe that. This is flaps full, by the way. No way. All right, we only have what? We only seem to have flaps 0, flaps 1, and flaps full. We have 3 settings. Realistic. Let's see if the spoilers work. They don't. Spoilers still don't work. Spoilers have no function. Spoilers have no function, ladies and gentlemen. Spoilers are not working. How are you neglecting to animate that at least? See the bleed? These buttons don't do anything. We only have the engine page showing 2 engines, of course. Let's see if we can take off. I mean, what's the point? All right. Oh, actually, all 4 engines are running now, even though they're not selected. They synchronize up. I have no idea what all this is. Let's go and release the parking brake. Come on. Question is, where is the parking? Where is the parking brake? This plane hasn't got a part. This plane hasn't got brakes. I can't release them with a joystick either. What? Press the B button. That don't do anything. Brakes don't work. This plane doesn't have brakes. Selectable. Oh, the brakes are set. Oh my god, this plane doesn't move. Select parking brake is B. So this should work. Okay, no movement. No movement whatsoever. This thing is just not, I mean, okay, now it moves. Huh? Well, it doesn't really move. We're not really speeding up. What is wrong? So the only way to accelerate in this plane is if I dip the brakes lightly. If I dip the brakes lightly, the plane actually accelerates. If I let go of the brakes again, it decelerates. What? If I dip the brakes lightly, it's the only way I can fly. Let's see if we can take off. Of course we can. Of course we can, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, maybe not? Question mark? Huh? That was a very close call. Hey. Wow, this plane has immensely good stall behavior. This thing is just not able to stall, is it? Look at this climb performance. All right, no. Let's see if I can crash it at all. Put the landing gear up. Landing gear up. Let's see what the animation looks like. I reckon it's gonna be horrible. Why does the landing gear not come up? Yeah, now it comes up very quickly. Wow, very realistic. So this is what the stall behavior looks like. We have no stall behavior whatsoever. How is this even doable in Microsoft Flight Sim? How can you make physics this bad? Look at, we're even gaining speed now. The nose is fully pointed up. We're at 30 degrees here of pitch. And still, this plane doesn't care at 130 knots. In fact, we can probably put the flaps up. Let's do that now. And look, we're even climbing better. Hey, this is incredible. And now it's saying stall, but I reckon it's not going to stall out, is it? Which kind of, yeah, the plane just doesn't stall. Okay, great. Still, I mean, the worst part about all this was really that weird takeoff roll where we're only able to gain speed if I dip the brakes. I genuinely don't get how anyone would pay real money to play this because the cockpit is just really the worst ever. Let's go and put the landing gear up and try to do a landing again. I mean, the physics of this plane just dictates that we should be fine. Let's go and put the landing gear down fully. There we go. See that wonderful animation? Wow! Boom, boom, bam! The landing gear isn't even tilted a slight bit, which should be the case in real life. It just looks immensely bad. How do they keep getting away with this? How does Microsoft say, oh, this is great for our flight sim? This will make people buy this and say, oh, finally, flight simulation is serious. A great tool for learning how to fly a plane. As you can see, this is definitely a great tool. The greatest tool in the world. Look, I can definitely fly the A380 now. Now, let's go ahead and stop this airplane here on a 600-meter long runway. There we go. That's worked fine. Let's go and put the reversers on. All the engines have reverse thrust. Very realistic on the A380, I've heard. Let's put brakes full power. And the good thing is that even though the cockpit is saying... reverse thrust on all engines active, it doesn't actually display it. Yes, this plane hasn't got reverse thrust animation. Like, I know Roblox flight sims that have way better quality than this. It's just absolutely insane. Still, despite that, we've been able to land just fine. Great stuff. See, the main problem is that I would be making fun of this airplane if it were free. The genuinely badly done textures that make no sense. The fact that this plane obviously doesn't have a cabin, right? Let's check out inside. Yeah, look at that realistic Emirates A380 from the inside. Look at this. Look at that. This is definitely like, the problem is they didn't even resize the A320 cockpit properly. They managed to somehow make holes right here that make the A320 cockpit fit. Somehow that's actually genuinely hilarious. But this plane, if it were freeware, I wouldn't download it, but I pay 11 euros. Anyway, I bet the nose wheel steering doesn't work. I would like to try that out, but of course, plane still has no parking brake. And the only way to move the plane is by tipping the brake slightly. Otherwise, it won't move. No kidding. Let's see, we need to tip it lightly. There you go, just very lightly tipped. And then the plane moves. Now let's see if I can steer the part. Yeah, okay, steering does this. Steering does this. Steering does nothing to the nose landing gear. Hey, but at least this plane has ailerons animated, only partly. Normally, they should be dancing around a little bit. This plane is just bad. I don't even know how it got 3.9 stars. Once again, I think the normal person would not be able to figure out that you have to dip the brakes slightly for this plane to move at all. This plane is just broken. And the more brakes I use, the more we accelerate. And if I let go of the brakes right now, we stop accelerating. All right, come on. Come on. Come on. Yes. Oh, wow. That is an extremely detailed animation. So everybody, top Swissair one top tip, don't buy this airplane. It will only bring you pain. I mean, look at the nose. But to give you some actual consumer advice, if you have an Xbox and you're really desperate to fly an Air 380, get the Braddock 3D. It's still very bad. It's been on the store for a while, but at least it does a little bit of a better job. It's still bad. Yeah, just buy a PC. Just buy a PC. How does this Braddock thing has 1.5 thousand rating? Dude, if you want to make money, build some add-on aircraft for the Microsoft flight sims that are bad. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night.